CEO was stunned to see the man helping her father. She'd fired him just 5 days ago. The black pickup truck stood in the driveway under the bright afternoon sun. Emily Carter froze the moment she stepped out of her luxury SUV. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized the man helping her elderly father carry a heavy table saw into the garage. 5 days earlier, she had personally fired him in front of dozens of employees. She had called him unreliable, outdated, and no longer useful to the company. Yet here he was, sweating under the summer heat, helping the very family that had taken away his livelihood. The sight hit her harder than any business crisis she had ever faced. Before we begin this emotional story, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bright Hearts if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to life. Emily Carter was one of the youngest CEOs in the city. At only 34 years old, she had transformed her father's construction supply company into a fast-growing corporation. Investors admired her. Business magazines praised her. Employees respected her intelligence, but many feared her strict decisions. She believed success came from efficiency, speed, and tough choices. Her father, Richard Carter, had built the company from nothing. Decades earlier, he had started with a small warehouse and a borrowed truck. Through hard work and honesty, he earned the trust of customers and employees alike. Richard always believed that people mattered more than profits. Emily respected her father deeply, but she often felt his old-fashioned values slowed down progress. Among the company's longest-serving employees was Daniel Brooks. He had worked there for nearly 20 years. Daniel was not highly educated. He was not flashy or ambitious. But he was dependable. He arrived before sunrise and often stayed late. He knew every corner of the warehouse and every customer by name. To many workers, Daniel was the heart of the company. Unfortunately, the company had recently faced financial pressure. Investors demanded higher profits. Emily responded by restructuring departments and reducing costs. During one difficult review meeting, she noticed that Daniel's productivity reports appeared lower than those of younger employees. Without looking deeper into the situation, she concluded that he was no longer contributing enough. 5 days before that shocking moment in her father's driveway, Emily had made the decision to terminate Daniel's employment. The news spread quickly through the company. Employees were stunned. Some quietly questioned the decision, but no one challenged the CEO openly. Daniel listened calmly as he was informed of his dismissal. He did not argue. He did not beg. He simply thanked the company for the years he had spent there, packed his belongings, and walked away. What Emily never knew was that Daniel had been secretly helping several older employees complete their tasks while they struggled with health issues. The lower productivity numbers reflected time he spent assisting others, not laziness. But nobody had mentioned it, and Daniel himself never sought recognition. The days following his dismissal seemed normal for Emily. Meetings continued. Reports improved. Investors appeared satisfied. Yet an uncomfortable feeling lingered inside her. Something about the situation did not sit right. Her father had also seemed unusually quiet whenever the subject came up. Then everything changed. One evening, Richard suffered a minor accident while repairing equipment at home. Though his injuries were not life-threatening, he needed help moving heavy tools and organizing his workshop. Emily was busy traveling for meetings and could not immediately assist him. When Richard mentioned his situation to a few friends, word somehow reached Daniel. Without hesitation, Daniel drove across town the next morning. And now, 5 days after losing his job, he was standing in Richard Carter's driveway, helping him as if nothing had happened. Emily watched silently from a distance. She expected anger. She expected bitterness. She expected resentment. Instead, she saw kindness. Daniel carefully adjusted Richard's grip whenever the older man struggled. He moved equipment slowly so Richard would not strain himself. He listened patiently as Richard spoke. There was no sign of revenge or hostility. For the first time, Emily felt ashamed. As she approached, Daniel noticed her. For a brief moment, their eyes met. Emily expected discomfort, but Daniel simply nodded politely and returned to his work. That simple gesture affected her more than any harsh criticism could have. Later that evening, Emily sat with her father on the porch. The sun was setting behind the trees, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. Richard looked tired but peaceful. During their conversation, he finally revealed something Emily had never known. Years ago, when the company nearly collapsed during a recession, Daniel had quietly worked extra shifts without requesting overtime pay. He had helped save major client accounts. He had delivered supplies during snowstorms when no one else could. More importantly, he had supported employees facing personal hardships. Richard explained that Daniel had never worked for recognition. He simply believed in helping people. Emily listened in silence. Every success she proudly celebrated suddenly felt incomplete. She realized she had spent years focusing on numbers while ignoring the human stories behind them. That night, she could not sleep. Her mind replayed the image of Daniel helping her father. A man she had judged unfairly. A man who owed her nothing. A man who chose kindness anyway. The next morning, Emily arrived at the company earlier than usual. She began reviewing records more carefully. The deeper she investigated, the more she discovered. Employees repeatedly mentioned Daniel's generosity. He had covered shifts for struggling coworkers. He had mentored new hires. He had helped warehouse staff learn complicated procedures. Several workers admitted that their own success was partly because of his guidance. One employee even revealed that Daniel had organized a fundraiser for a colleague's sick child without ever telling management. Emily felt her chest tighten. She realized she had reduced a human being's value to a spreadsheet. Days later, she made a decision. She contacted Daniel and invited him to meet. When he arrived, he appeared calm and respectful, just as always. Emily apologized sincerely. It was not the polished apology of a corporate executive. It was the apology of a person who finally understood the consequences of her mistake. She admitted she had been wrong. She admitted she had failed to see his true contribution. And for perhaps the first time in years, she allowed herself to be vulnerable. Daniel listened quietly. Then he smiled. He told her that everyone makes mistakes. What mattered was learning from them. His response left Emily speechless. Many people would have held on to anger. Many would have demanded revenge. Daniel chose forgiveness. Emily offered him his job back immediately, along with a promotion to employee development manager. She wanted him to help build a company culture centered on mentorship and teamwork. To her surprise, Daniel did not accept right away. Instead, he asked for time to think. The request humbled her even further. For years, she believed positions and titles were everything. Daniel reminded her that respect mattered more. Several days later, he returned with his decision. He agreed to come back, not because of the promotion, not because of the salary increase, but because he cared about the people who worked there. His return transformed the company. Employee morale improved dramatically. Turnover decreased. Teams collaborated more effectively. Customers noticed the positive change. Ironically, profits also increased. But the most important transformation happened within Emily herself. She began spending more time with employees. She listened before making decisions. She learned that leadership was not about power. It was about understanding. It was about recognizing the humanity behind every role. Months later, during a company gathering, Emily stood before hundreds of employees and publicly shared the story of her mistake. She praised Daniel's character and thanked him for teaching her one of the most valuable lessons of her life. Many employees had tears in their eyes. Richard Carter watched proudly from the front row. His company was succeeding financially, but more importantly, it was succeeding morally. And all because one man chose compassion over resentment. Before we reach the end of this story, we have a special request. Please comment, "Kindness always wins," if you believe a good heart can change lives. As the event ended, Emily looked across the room and saw Daniel speaking with younger employees, encouraging them exactly as he always had. She realized that true greatness is not measured by titles, wealth, or authority. It is measured by the lives we touch when nobody is watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bright Hearts. Your engagement helps spread messages of kindness, forgiveness, and hope to people who may need them most. Because sometimes the strongest people are not those who seek revenge when they are hurt. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who choose kindness when they have every reason not to. And those acts of kindness often change far more lives than anyone could ever imagine.